Welcome to the official tutorial on how to make the package thief device from my videos. I expect you to have a few tools like a power drill, a screwdriver, a saw, just the basic tools that should be in everybody's garage. If you don't have those tools or you don't have tools at all, just ask someone in your family. But the mechanism shouldn't be too hard to make if you've made things yourself before or if you have a bit of knowledge about tools. First, we're gonna start with the air tank. Make sure all the parts are rated for at least 10 bars or more to make sure the mechanism doesn't explode. The first part you're gonna need is a PVC T-piece with an inner diameter of 50mm, two 1-inch MPT to 50mm outer diameter pieces, two end caps for the PVC pipe also with an inner diameter of 50mm, two 90° L pieces also with an inner diameter of 50mm, and of course a PVC pipe with an outer diameter of 50mm, which are gonna split in two pieces of 8 inches or 20 centimeters and two pieces of 2 inches or 5 centimeters. Once you sew those 4 pieces, take your power drill, take the smallest drill piece you can find and drill a hole in the middle of one of the caps. If you're gonna use a manometer, but if you don't wanna use a manometer, don't drill a hole in the second cap, just leave it be. You need to drill until the hole is big enough to fit in the bike valve. Then you're gonna heat up the bike valve and screw it in straight. If you're gonna use a manometer, do exactly the same for that as well. Once you've done all that, the layout should be like this, kinda shaped like a U. Before gluing all the parts together, you need to scratch every surface that is gonna come in contact with the glue. This makes it so the glue binds better. After that, you're individually gonna glue each contact point and put them together one by one. Make sure you don't turn or twist the parts too much and that they're in a pretty straight line without having too much of an angle. Once everything is glued together like this, you should let the glue dry for 24 hours before letting any air inside. The next thing is gonna be the exhaust valve itself. I have this exact model, but if you have a slightly different one, it doesn't really matter. The first thing you're gonna do is unscrew all the parts that are in there. Pull everything that's inside out, so that only the casing remains. Then you should level this thing that sticks out with a saw, so that it's on the same line as the middle piece. After that, you're gonna unscrew the 6 screws on the top. It could be 4, it could be 6, depending on the model of sprinkler valve. If there's still anything inside, unscrew it. After you've done this, you take the power drill again and you drill a hole until it's big enough to fit in the MPT piece. I've already assembled the MPT pieces, but here's how you do it. You take the electrical solenoid valve, then you have to pick the side where the air has to go in, which is the side where a little hole is in the middle, not the other one, and most of the time it's also the side where the wires point. Once you've found your inlet side, you screw in the male-to-male MPT coupler, and after that you screw on the smaller one. Also make sure to put some Teflon tape on there, and once you've done that, you can drill, fit, go a bit bigger, drill, fit, until it actually fits. Then you heat up the threads again, just screw it in. And the last thing you gotta do is taking some epoxy resin. Take about the same amount of blue and white stuff. Doesn't have to be perfectly 50-50. Mix them until they're one color and then put it in this little hole. Push it in very hardly so that it fits. Then you should put the other part of the valve on the PVC mechanism. Make sure you also put some Teflon tape on the threads. If you've already done that, you just put the top part back on. But make sure you let the epoxy resin dry for at least 24 hours before putting in air. Now, you take 4 electrical wires of about 8 inches or 20 centimeters. You all strip them with a wire stripper, or you can also do it with scissors. Then you twist the ends of all the wires. The next step is taking the remote control module. There should be some screws on top which loosen or tighten the ports. Loosen the ports of a NO port and the COM port next to it. Then loosen the ground port and the VCC port, which is the power input. Then connect 2 wires with the ground port and the VCC port. Connect the black wire of the solenoid valve to the COM port and put one of the wires you just cut in the NO port. Once these 4 wires are connected, you can tighten the ports so that the wires can't fall out anymore. Then you grab the red wire of the solenoid valve together with the VCC wire of the RC module and you twist them so that they become one wire. After that, you both connect them to the switch button, doesn't matter which side you pick, and put your last remaining cut wire on the other side of the switch button, so that the 2 wires become one. You can also put some tape over the connections, depending on the switch button, and then you take that wire that you just connected to the switch button and put it in the red port of the battery or the plus pole. I use a hot glue gun to keep the wire in the pole without it falling out, but super glue or tape should also work. Then you take the ground wire and the last remaining wire coming out of the NO port and you also twist them together. Once you've twisted them together, put them both in the minus pole or the black pole of the battery. Also make sure they can't fall out with hot glue, glue or tape. And once this is all done, the RC module should have a red light blinking if you press the switch. And if you press the A button or the corresponding button with your RC port, you should hear a click. If this is all done correctly, the mechanism should now be done. I 3D printed a custom part to keep the whole mechanism in place that is custom made for the dimensions of my box. But you can also just tape or glue the electronics to the device itself. Doesn't really matter as long as the mechanism stays in place, because the dimensions of the box are different for everybody, so I can't make a tutorial about that. Make sure you also charge the mechanism fully before you go out there and test it out with about 4 to 6 bars of pressure, which is about the sweet spot of the mechanism. If the mechanism is on, the tank is charged and you press the button on the remote, there should be a big burst of air coming out. The last thing you just gotta do is connecting the 3D printed nozzle with the last PVC part you have and screw it on. That's it. That's how you make the mechanism. Disclaimer, I am not responsible for anything that happens with this mechanism. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram. And I hope you're gonna have a fun time with this. See ya!